Can you hear me?
Tar Meher Baba ki jai. Yes, yes, I can. Can start with the seven realities. Over to you.
Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. The seven realities: existence, love, sacrifice, renunciation, knowledge, control, and surrender. I give no importance to creed, dogma, caste, or the performance of religious ceremonies and rites, but to the understanding of the following. 1. The only real existence is that of the one and only God, who is the self in every finite self. 2. The only real love is the love for this infinity God, which arouses an intense longing to see, know, and become one with its truth, God. 3. The only real sacrifice is that in which, in persons of this love, all things, body, mind, position, welfare, even life itself, are sacrificed. 4. The only real realization is that in which abandons, even in the midst of worldly duties, all selfish thoughts and desires. 5. The only real knowledge is the knowledge that God is the inner dweller in good people and in so called bad, in saint and in so called sinner. This knowledge requires you to help all equally as circumstances demand, without expectation or reward, when compelled to take part in dispute, to act without the slightest trace of enmity or hatred, to try to make others happy with brotherly or sisterly feeling for each one, and to harm no one in thought, word, or deed, not even those who harm you. 6. The only real control is the discipline of senses, to abstain from indulgence in low desires, which alone ensures absolute purity of character. 7. The only real surrender is that in which poise is undisturbed by any adverse circumstance, and the individual, amidst every kind of hardship, is resigned with perfect calm to the will of God. Given by Meher Baba in 1952. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Tar Meher Baba ki jai. So, thank you so much for that. And with that, we can just look at where we are. We are in session number 24, and we've finished we are on page 65 of volume 2. So let's start from that point on. Maybe I'll start reading first, and then we can rotate as always. Yeah. Okay. Jai Baba. Sar Meher Baba ki Jai. The section is called Touching the Feet and Twisting the Ear. I cannot leave out the following incident that happened on this day. It brought to the notice of the would-be companions the necessity of obeying Baba without any reservation or resistance. While dilating on the clauses and elucidating the qualities required to cope with the new life, Baba incidentally admired Aloba's, Ali Akbar's, readiness to obey him. In those days, Aloba was rather emotional. Now he has considerably calmed down. On that day, he was sitting quite close to Baba's seat. In response to Baba's words, out of deep gratitude but quite unawares, he stretched out his hands and touched Baba's feet. This simple action changed the atmosphere of the meeting. Baba's standing injunction for the close ones was not to touch his feet as a gesture of reverence to him. Even during their darshan programs, when thousands were allowed to press their heads on his feet and unburden their sanskaras, impressions of thoughts and emotions, the intimate ones were not permitted to do so unless especially instructed. Hence, Baba became very displeased and appeared very serious. He decided to literally reciprocate the homage. He bade Aloba stand up and leaned down himself to touch Aloba's feet. All this was so unusual and unexpected that it was too much for Aloba to bear. He screamed and sprang up clean off the floor. to save him from falling on the stone floor and hurting himself. Those nearby, as well as Baba, stretched out their hands to catch him. He was sobbing profusely and shedding tears. Baba, however, insisted that he must touch Aloba's feet. He did. The meeting continued. After some time, Aloba calmed down. Baba used this occasion to clarify a few more conditions of new life. Baba conveyed, in my new life, I may ask anyone to spit on my face or slap me. The companion will have to act without the least hesitation. I'll pause here. I hope some of you at least got a chance to look at the video I shared. It's a beautiful video about the new life. There's a series that What Parks is doing in Mehrabad live on the new life, and it was uh, so much in uh, i- in sync with what we are reading because we are reading before the start of the new life. And in that session two of the New Life sessions, what Parks explains beautifully the time and goings on in Mehrabad before people embark and during the first few days of the new life. I found it very useful. So I thought maybe I should mention it as well. Okay, let's continue. After a little while, Baba, the master psychologist, pointed at Aloba and in a very natural way asked him to twist his Baba's ear. Aloba silently got up and without any resentment was quick to act as ordered. Just then, Chakkal, who was known in the Mandali as Anna 104, raised his hand. When asked for the reason, he said that he too was ready to twist Baba's ear. Hearing this with a smile, Baba gestured that if anyone wanted to pay off old scores by pricking his ears, he would gladly allow anyone to do so. But it was necessary to understand well that there was a world of difference between twisting his ear on one's own and doing it in response to Baba's order. In the ripples of laughter that followed, the meeting was over. Dr. Donkin and Dr. Neelu examined Baba's hand that bore the brunt of Aloba's body. The delicate muscles of Baba's fingers were strained, and for some days, Baba had to use a sling. The throbbing pain in the fingers cost him many sleepless nights. After a week, he could, though with great strain, put his signatures on important documents. Before leaving for the new life, he did not wish to maintain anything in his name. As advised by the doctors, Baba had to hold hard rubber ball in his palm and press it tightly. That was the exercise for the sprained hand. Baba's loving training in helping his dear ones to obey him, even at the cost of such physical suffering, stands unexcelled. As Baba had instructed, Donkin was ready with the final write-up of the New Life conditions on August 21st. Prior to its reading, on behalf of Baba, Ghani offered the following prayer. May it please God to give his absolute strength to Baba to adhere to everything that is in his conditions to the very end. With a few alterations and additions, the draft was approved. First, it was suggested that these conditions should be sent to all of Baba's lovers. After a little discussion, however, it was decided the list that a list of over 1,000 Baba lovers, men only, should read out to Baba for selection. Should be read out to Baba for selection. So out of 1,000 names, some were selected. These were the people who, in one way or another, had in the past expressed their readiness to offer their services in Baba's cause. Excluding the arrangement walas, those who were assigned certain duties in view of the new life, Baba finally selected only 32 men, including the resident Mandali. They were to have the choice of accompanying Baba in his new life. Baba's decision about the women disciples. August 25 was the momentous day for the women disciples who had been staying with Baba for years. The bell rang. It was a call for the meeting with Baba in one of the rooms at Upper Mehrabad. Baba looked radiant and happy, and yet he appeared serious. In the previous meeting, he had made it clear that though he would decide for each of them, nevertheless, everyone would be wholly responsible before God for whatever might happen to them after October 16th. He told them that he might ask some to find jobs, some to remain celibate, and some to get married. All the statements made at this meeting were equally serious and grave as the women Mandli waited to hear Baba's final instructions. Baba was sitting on an iron cot with Mehra by his side. Mani was reading the board. Baba declared that Mehra, Mani, Mehru, and Gohar were to accompany him in his new life. Katie, Gohar's sister, Naja, Pendu's sister, Masi, Khorshid, Rano, and Kitty were to stay in Bombay. They were allowed to work and earn money if it were conveniently possible. Bombay, Rano and Kitty later served as teachers for some months at Queen Mary High School, where all their earnings had to be spent in purchasing household necessities. No personal savings were allowed. They were allowed to go for outings, but were not permitted to lunch or sup outside. They were not to accept anything as a gift from anyone. Nariman and Meherji were to look after the necessary arrangements of their stay in Bombay. The women were not allowed to go to the movies for entertainment. In short, they had to lead an austere life. Jairbai, wife of Kaikobad Dastur, with her three daughters and Mansari Desai, were to reside on the hill at Upper Mehrabad. Gulmai, Adi's mother, and Mehru, Erit's sister, were to continue their stay in Ahmednagar. Baba asked them all to completely give up any hope of seeing him again. He, however, advised them to carry out his orders with love and devotion. It was the best course open to them to share his new life, though physically away from him. In the end, he added, all the trouble is from hoping. Where there is no hope, there can follow no disappointment. Difficult lesson indeed. Love is unconditional. Among the women Mandali, Mani Desai was from Navsari and Mani Jesawala was from Nagpur. For the sake of convenience and with a sense of humor, Baba added the last letters of the places they came from to their names and nicknamed the former as Mansari and the latter as Manpur. For years, in accordance with Baba's instructions, Mansari has not crossed the railway lines that pass by the hill, except for medical reasons or under exceptional circumstances. Even after her death, her body, as instructed by Baba, will be buried on Upper Mehrabad. In the above mentioned meeting, Mansari asked Baba to permit her to reside permanently on the hill. There is an interesting story behind Mansari's simple request. She first met Baba at Mehrabad in 1927. The Desai family in Navsari revered Baba as a perfect master, and most of its members were deeply devoted to him. Mansari, as a teenager, was not drawn to Baba. Perhaps her mind was thoroughly occupied with a frightening skin disease which she had suffered from since she was 5. There were boils and boils on her body, and nobody could look at her without feeling a deep sympathy for her. After years of treatment, the specialists declared that the disease was incurable. She was extremely miserable. It was April 1927, and as a matter of course, not with the longing to see Baba, she joined members of her family leaving for Mehrabad. There must have been a special darshan program, for many had gathered there. The visitors formed a queue to offer their respects to Baba. Mansari was standing near a window, staring at Baba with a blank mind. When she was unlacing her shoes, Baba beckoned her. At that soft, casual glance, her eyes glistened with tears, and unaware of them, she let them fall down her face, some falling on her neck. This continued for a long time. She could not make out what had happened to her. It was a strange, indefinable feeling. Mansari joined the line of visitors, and as she reached Baba's seat, she offered him homage as one would offer to any saintly person or great personality. At this first meeting, Baba, with a face beaming with motherly love, embraced this tiny, thin, sickly girl and affectionately asked her to tell him all about her disgusting disease. Hearing sympathetically all about the terrible tragedy, he conveyed, "Don't worry, you shall be cured." For Mansari, it was too good to be true. Later, Baba gave her some ash from the dhuni and instructed her, "Repeat my name and put a pinch of it in your mouth every morning before tea." Not with faith in Baba's divinity, but merely out of respect, she followed his counsel. And within a month, though unbelievable, Mansari was completely cured of her skin disease, declared incurable by the physicians of the day. Rarely did such miraculous cure occur in the lives of Baba people. And Baba strongly discourages those who follow him from expecting such healings from him or seeking them from others. Anyway, with this magic cure, Mansari felt strongly drawn to Baba. She intuitively felt that Baba was the perfect master, the eternal one, for whom she should live and die. She sincerely longed to leave everything of the world to stay near Baba permanently, but she had to wait for about a decade. In 1930, she met Baba at Bombay and at Kaka Baria's house and expressed her desire to join him. Baba replied, "I wanted you since long ago, but you have to wait till I call you." Later, on other occasions, whenever she put forth the same request, Baba's answer would be, "Wait till I call you." Finally, in July 1937, Baba granted her request and she was called bag and baggage to stay with him as one of the resident women Mandali. That time, Baba was residing with a small group in the government rest house at Ahmednagar, known as the Irrigation Bungalow. Jal, Baba's brother, was at the station to take her to this place. It was night when they arrived there, and most of the members had gone to sleep, but Baba was awake. Mansari offered her respects to him. He was happy and gestured, "Wanted you since long, but this is the time that you had to come. Now that you are with me here, you have to do what I say." Mansari said, "Yes, Baba, surely, everything except separation." To this, Baba replied, "But love is always unconditional, and you are binding me." Mansari responded, "Okay, Baba, I will do whatever you say." It has been noticed that Baba never unduly emphasized the proximity of his personal presence, but positively affirmed the importance of his impersonal omnipresence. This is the basis for real understanding of spiritual life. Love for the God man may or may not bring occasions of being physically near him, but his loving remembrance will never fail to awaken the heart. After several days, Baba
Can
shifted
highlight this
his.
last 4 5 lines,
Yes, yes,
Karthik.
yes, yes, yes. I was thinking very beautiful lines from here onwards. By the way, yeah, in that talk by What Parts on New Life, he also talks about how this is one of the best coverage in any book um, on the New Life case, and he refers to volume two. Volume two is from 1948. So I think by the through the course of this volume, we will really get a deeper understanding of this phase of Baba's life, right? I think thanks to our detailed read of Wayfarers, we understood the journey with the Mus and what Baba was doing there. I'm really looking forward to this volume two and what we learned from this. Yeah, let's continue. After several days, Baba shifted his headquarters from Ahmednagar and Mansari, with the women Mandali commenced her stay on the hill. It again. After several days, Baba shifted his headquarters from Ahmednagar and Mansari, with the women Mandali commenced her stay on the hill. During that year, whenever Baba visited Mehrabad for his work, he found time to go up the hill and meet his disciples. Once, during his morning visit, he asked Mansari to finish her breakfast and see him. As she approached Baba, he held her by the wrist and strolled round the retreat. Through gestures, Baba conveyed that the whole world belonged to him, and pointing to the compound wall of the Meher retreat, he conveyed, "This is specially mine. Do you like this place?" Ansari answered, "Yes, Baba, I like it all the more because it is yours." Baba continued, "Will you then like to stay here if I go out on tour, leaving you here, taking the rest of the women mandali with me?" For a little pause, he continued, "Of course, I will provide you with the necessities for a year." The very thought of separation brought tears to Mansari's eyes, and she whispered, "I have not come here for that, Baba." Looking lovingly at her, Baba asked, "Are you crying?" "I don't like that. I just cracked a joke, and it seems that you don't like my jokes." Mansari explained, "But Baba, the joke was like a bomb exploding for me." Baba smiled, ending the conversation by conveying, "Forget all about it. I won't crack any more jokes with you." However, through this first joke, it seems that he had planted the seed of her stay on the Mehrabad hill. Next section, not your wish, but my will. About 1944 through 1945, Baba commenced staying in Mehrazad, Pimpalgaon, Malvi. Whenever he visited Mehrabad, Mansari would say to him, "When will you come back to Mehrabad and stay here as before?" Baba's silent reply through gestures would be, "We'll see." Once he replied to her in a different way. He conveyed, "Instead of putting me the same old question again and again, if you say, 'Baba, go anywhere you like, I will stay at Mehrabad. It will make me happier.'" Was this an indication that Mansari had to stay there permanently? In 1947, those staying at Upper Mehrabad received a message from Baba about his special visit to the hill. Accordingly, he was there by 9:30 a.m. All the women Mandali were called. In the course of the meeting, Baba conveyed, "Whosoever has any hope that I will come back and stay at Mehrabad should think no more about it. Under these circumstances, if any of you wants to leave Mehrabad and go somewhere else, he may frankly inform me about it by 2:30 this afternoon. Such a decision will not displease me." On the other hand, Baba jokingly added, "I will pay for her ticket, garland, the person concerned, and arrange a lift to the railway station." When this meeting was over, Mansari was busy talking with the visitors from Pune. For a while, Baba called her and asked, "Have you decided?" "About what?" she said. Baba gestured, "Don't you remember why I have called this meeting? What's your decision?" To this, Mansari replied, "What's there to decide, Baba? It was already decided years ago. I will stay at Mehrabad." Baba looked very pleased. He referred to a line in Urdu, "Jeena tere gali mein, marna." It's not mama, marna teri gali mein. "I wish to live and to die in your lane, O beloved." And added, "Are you really ready for this?" Mansari's spontaneous answer was, Certainly, Baba." All these incidents, spread over many years, arrayed themselves before her, prompted Mansari on August 25, 1949, to put the above mentioned request of permanently staying on the hill. Baba happily agreed but conveyed, I'm glad to hear this. You can stay here, but remember, you will be residing here not because of your wish, but because of my will. Mansari understood what Baba meant. Beautiful. So I think I'll pause here and maybe we can even rotate the reading. Anybody is in a position to um,
I
pick
can
up
read.
from here?
I can read.
Yeah. Great, Sunil. Oh, I see Mahu is here. Mahu, I sent you an email as well. I hope all is well at your part of the woods.
Yeah, everything is good. I didn't get your email. I got to check with you to see if you have my correct email
Correct email
because,
address.
well,
Yes,
yeah,
twice
why
this has
don't I'm
happened.
going to
Yeah,
look at the spam and everything in Gmail, but I haven't
sure.
actually received it. Yes.
Okay, so you were unaffected by it? You're
Oh,
where
by
you
the
were, or you
fire,
had to move?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. But I
Very
had a
good.
very, very hard time. That's one of the reason I couldn't come last week because we were all affected. It
I'm
was
sure.
sudden, shocking,
Yes,
and
yes.
the extent of it was way, way, way too much. Too much.
Crazy, crazy.
But
Yeah.
but that's what God wanted it, and that's what it happened. And so we surrender to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Glad you're taking it that way, and I'm glad all is good. Okay.
Yeah, but it brought sadness to us. It brought a lot of things. Although we know
Wait,
everything is in God's hand,
why is it
but
off?
emotionally
Oh, it's
you
up,
can't
up again.
resist. Yeah.
True, true. Okay. Sunilji,
I'm sorry,
let's
where do you live, Mahu? I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you. Where do you
I
live?
live in Los Angeles, but away from the ports that and cities that was affected by this
Okay.
wildfire. Yeah.
Jai Baba. Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba.
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba, Jai Baba. Over
Okay.
to you, Sunilji, and then we can rotate later as well again.
Sure. Response from the woman Mandali. Baba had already disclosed that he was going to disband the ashrams at Meherabad and Meherazad. He was to leave Ahmednagar on October 16 for good, so he wished to make provisions for the future requirements of those persons and families whom he had himself made dependent upon him. The women disciples responded wholeheartedly to this appeal by showing their readiness to sell their personal belongings to make the necessary arrangements. Kitty Devi was staying at Meherabad. She writes, "We too wanted to share. Chinese coats appeared from the trunks that had lain there since our arrival in India in 1933. Jewelry rarely worn was brought out, and other treasures. All displayed their wares on the beds, and one morning Baba came up to the hill and went around systematically viewing what was laid out. He was deeply touched at our willingness to share in the spirit of the new life, owning nothing but the barest necessities. Baba had made it clear that we could not dispose of anything that was really necessary. Not everything displayed was allowed to be sold. All I had of value was Karthik. Karthik, my screen is stuck.
Um, is it stuck for everybody? Because I just moved it.
Yes, yes.
Yes to stuck for
Maybe you have to
everybody. Then
reshare. Yeah, it is
yeah.
stuck
Okay.
for
Okay.
everyone.
All right.
Reshare.
Okay. Let me do that. All I had of value, Sunilji.
Yes, but okay. Where are we? All I had of value was an amber
Yes.
necklace from Japan and a mandarin coat from China. I was fortunate. Baba allowed both to go to the general fund. Packing and dismantling one Bhagula saucepan remained on the last day. From August 25th, in the midst of all this uphill, Baba began coming up the hill every afternoon at 3 to be with us. The time for departure was drawing near. Here was a test to forget the packing, play ping pony, act charades, tell jokes, all with smiling faces and without tear. In spirituality,
Went too much ahead. Go down.
too far.
No. That quotation is from
Oh,
Okay,
Recollections
okay.
Part 2,
Recollections
Awakener
part.
Volume 7,
That's
published in 1960. If you remember, we are reading a portion of Kitty Devi's account of this. So that was the end of that. And now
yeah.
we take the next section. In spirituality, take every risk.
In spirituality, take every risk. August 21 was the day when Baba approved the final draft of the new life conditions. It was a very busy day for him from morning to evening. This was a red letter day for a small group of Baba lovers from Pune anxiously waiting in Ahmednagar just to have a glimpse of him. Half of the group had not met Baba before. This includes Madhusudan Pant, one of the Baba's favorite poet singers of Hindi songs about Baba. On this day, he met Baba for just a few minutes, but in the course of time, Madhusudan was intimately linked with him. Madhusudan's coming to Baba was more than planned. It was a Baba coincidence, and every coincidence that draws a Baba lover close to him reveals a unique glimpse of the divine beloved Baba. Madhusudan was in his teens. His family circumstances did not permit him to continue his education. In addition to this, he was not keeping well and was passing through a phase of mental crisis. His love for music provided some consolation in life. This resulted in his friendship with Ramachandra Rao, a singer from North India. His rhythmical, sweet voice so charmed Madhusudan that he started attending the different bhajan programs in Pune. This comradeship led him to participate in Meher Baba's birthday program celebrated and arranged by Gadekar at his residence in Bhawanipet, Pune. It was here that Madhusudan contacted the Baba people and gave a performance before Baba's picture. Unaware at the time, that small incident not only brought him into Baba's fold, but also introduced him to his sweetheart, Subhadra, whom he later married. A happy Baba day. Madhusudan was not very interested in lectures on Baba, but nevertheless he wished to continue his visits for the weekly bhajans at Gadekar's house. These programs gradually awakened in him a longing to see Baba in person. But there was a circular restricting darshan and even correspondence with Baba. Sule, who generally delivered talks at the meetings, convinced some of the youngsters to take the risk and have Baba's darshan. He told them that by imposing various restrictions, Baba was trying to create thirst in the hearts of his dear ones to see him. The circular banning darshan was one of his ways of intensifying the longing. In fact, Baba is ever ready with open arms to meet anyone who has a daring heart. While concluding his personal opinion about the ways of the Master, Sule added, "If you honestly feel the urge to meet Baba, why don't you try now?" This reminds me of Baba's words. As far as I remember, they were, "In trifles, take no risk. In business, take a few risks. In spirituality, take every risk." Thus, a young group of 7 Baba lovers resolved to risk a visit to Baba in Ahmednagar, and Madhusudan was one of them. Soft light flooded Madhusudan's soul.
I'll pause
Yeah.
for a minute if you don't
Sure,
mind.
sure,
So
please.
I have a question. So, what do people think about this? What do everybody on the call think of this? So, is it right to take when Baba said in spirituality, take risks? Is it at the cost of obedience? Is it that Baba had these restrictions imposed to increase the thirst and the pangs of separation and test the lovers? What are your thoughts?
I think Karthik, it is 1 to 1. I mean, where we are on the path,
Yeah.
basically, obedience is yes, but it is before surrender. And when love overtakes you, you just forget everything and do. I was listening to Pratap Kaka's talks, and he just talks before he starts singing a song that when Baba used to come to Mera Pune for the summers, and then he would, send a circular, nobody should come and see me, and all and on and on. So when that period was over and Kaka said that we used to go there, Baba used to say, मैं इतने दिन से पूना में आया हुआ हूँ, don't people have कि तुम्हारा हमसे मिलने भी नहीं आ सकते तुम लोग. तो बाबा बोलते हैं कि ये से आपका सर्कुलर है and all that, and we how can we come and see you because we are just following the circular. अरे then why do you people call yourselves lovers of me? तुम लोग तो
Wow.
प्रेमी हो ना. So it is both ways, Baba, bangs you on, slaps you on both the cheeks, actually, this and that, both. So it's very 1 to 1. Your heart
That's
overtakes your mind, then probably Baba would accept it. But it should not be out of ego that I don't care for your instructions and I am going to come. Not from that motive.
mm.
You just, you can't resist that kind of a thing, when Baba would probably pardon and accept it lovingly rather. Yeah, Jai Baba.
And I mean, beautiful. I did not know that Baba himself, uh, commented on this or
Mm-hmm.
teased the lovers. So that's interesting, and thanks for sharing that. But there's also incidents where Baba has, out of compassion, broken his rules of seclusion
Yeah.
and visits. I think
Yes.
Ravi Garu, you have to mute. Uh, so there have been Ravi Garu, you have to mute. There have been instances
Let,
where
let me let me mute
people
you.
who take
I did,
yeah,
I
yeah.
did, I did, I did.
Okay.
Okay, you muted or okay, no problem. Yeah. So I was saying,
I was going to,
there are
I
many
was going to
people
comment on
who
something, but go ahead. Yeah.
have got darshan in violation of Baba's restrictions as a special case, right? So I think it's as
Right.
contextual to
Yeah.
the person
Yeah. Person to person, how is
journey, the
your own personal contact and how where you are?
stage,
Pratap Kaka
and
says
his
that
person
for so long I am here in
in front,
Pune. Don't
right?
you people don't even care how am I, and you don't want to even come and see me. Then why do you call
Come
yourself
and
my
see.
lovers? Yeah. हाल आके मेरा
Yeah.
हालचाल पूछे, मुझे देखें, ऐसा तुम्हारे दिल में नहीं आता है? That way. He was cajoling him. Yeah. That way. Yeah, Baba.
Yes.
Hey, I want to comment on
Thank you.
that risk. Can you read that again? I just want to
Yeah,
see. I don't see it here.
it's
I'm
here.
traveling. Can you hear me properly,
Yes,
or
yes, we
Yes.
can, we
Now
can
we
hear you.
Yes,
can,
yes.
and
am
it's
I
clear.
am I audible?
Bit patchy, but okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So I just want to comment on that. In spirituality, take every risk. You know. See, what is if you look at what is at risk is like, let's say I invested $1,000 in a stock. Okay, I don't know what is the result going to be. So I might get money, I might lose the whole money. Right? That's called risk. You know, there are two things in my result. If I invest something, if I wait over a period of time, something will happen that will result in either double the money or totally loss. That is what we think is the risk, right? In spirituality, we have to play a totally a different game. You know, all we are responsible is to do the best and do the right thing. And that's about it. And we give the result to the gods. So we don't take the result. Of course, we have to pay attention that we work for the good result. You know, for example, if I'm taking a 10th class exam test, my job is to study well, study thoroughly, such that when any question is given in the test, I should be able to answer. I should be such thorough. Then if I'm really thorough, whatever the questions I get, I answer. Then the result doesn't belong to me. So if I take that spirituality, we don't own the result. God owns the result. So in spirituality, we take every risk. That's what I'm thinking. You can have some discussion on that. Jai Baba.
Yeah, I think there is another reference to the Baba. I mean, there's a statement from Baba which is similar. I'm not able to recollect exactly.
Yeah.
Something to something to the effect of it's not for the spirituality is not for the faint-hearted, and you'll have to take bold and courageous steps, something to that effect, right? Maybe in discourses. But I think so. It's more in that context. But Ravi, your point is also well taken in the sense that than taking risks, it's more about being selfless in action and also being 100% committed or 100% put your effort with no dilution and go all out, right? So that's I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Basically, the final surrender cannot be out of reason. So because when we don't take risk, we are reasoning.
Yes.
Risk and not taking risk
Yes,
is
correct.
out of reasoning. There is a
Correct.
expected profit or loss or that kind of transactional, whatever words you want to use around that. But when you surrender, there is no what will happen. We don't know. We are getting into a blind alley sort of thing, and we surrender out of love and reverence to the master. So that's the biggest risk you are taking. So that's what I think the last words mean. Take all risks. Basically, surrender yourself without even thinking of what will happen. That's what it probably means. Jai Baba.
Perfect.
Java,
Very good.
Java, I had fleeting thoughts in my mind. What is the risk that each one of us is taking in spirituality? Any thoughts?
Yeah, good
Kartik,
question. Go
Kartik,
ahead, Maho. Go
Kartik,
ahead.
Typical of
I
Sunil
have a,
questions.
yeah. Um, I don't really understand this that you say, you guys asking what is the risk we are taking in spirituality. Okay, so it feels to me that you put yourself first and then the master second by this question. Um, when you come to this spiritual path and you accept your master as the only doer, see, Baba is the only doer. We think we're doing something, we really don't. So when you come and eventually Baba helps you to think of yourself less and less and less. There's a quote of Baba. It says, you've got to really forget about yourself, your surrounding, yourself. First, let your head go, then your ears, then your mouth, then your feet, then, like that. He's describing it like this. In other words, the more we think of ourselves, who are we? We are nothing but false ego, okay? Because we haven't reached our reality yet. We are hopefully in process. So when you guys say what is the risk we're taking in spirituality, it's kind of um, unknown to me. When you come to spirituality, you don't think about risk or non-risk. See, that kind of a question belongs to more of a material
Traditional
life.
world, material world. Yeah.
Yeah, and material world rather than a spiritual world. Yeah, because it's all about the surrender and obedience. I mean, the sooner we do it, the sooner we'll get, the more we get closer and closer, and then we will have less and less incarnation. I mean, how many times we want to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and what's in it? Really, in a, really you think about it, there's nothing in it, nothing. But we have to come and go in order to balance our samskaras, finish one incarnation, tap into the next one, and on and on and on, you know. So we must ask, what is the way to get closer and closer to Baba or our master, rather than what risk we take? Jay
Thank
Baba,
you.
sorry for
Thanks,
being
Jai Baba.
honest. I mean,
No,
blunt.
no, no, that's perfectly fine. Any other opinion to that question? I just wanted to hear everybody.
You know, I have a nephew. He's kind of initial stages of Baba, loving Baba. He asked me before, Uncle, you say Baba is God, that's okay. And I follow, let's say, 20 years like you. And suddenly I go to heaven and he says, oh, Baba is not God. What should I do? And,
That is the
for
risk we
that
are
kind of.
taking. Sunil, that is there lies the answer, Sunil. That is the risk we are taking. I think in a
Thank
way
you.
your question is
Thank you
answered.
very
Yeah.
much. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Yes,
No,
we have already
actually,
taken the risk, so it's behind
no,
us.
no, Baba actually talked about it. He said, don't worry about that. Just follow me.
Yes.
What are you going to
Yeah,
lose? At most, nothing will happen to you. You're following good
absolutely.
things. Even
Thank you.
if you think
Yes.
I'm not God, nothing happens to you. If you're happy, if you
Nothing
believe
happens.
me,
He never
then
preaches anything
everything's
bad.
okay. Yeah,
Thank you. Thanks for the honest
that is
answers.
true.
Yeah, all the answers were
Mm.
beautiful. Really appreciate. Yeah. Should I continue, Karthik?
Yes, yes, please. Maybe another section and then we'll rotate.
Okay. Soft light flooded Madhusudan's soul in the morning on August 21. All of them presented themselves at Adi's office in Kushru quarters, now called Meher. The preparations for the new life were being made at the breathtaking pace. Adi was overworked with the details that he had to see to. When he found this group in the office, he was amazed and said, "Haven't you read the circular? Who advised you to come over here for Baba's darshan?" The group was nervous. No one expected a cold reception at Baba's office. Someone apologized to Adi for troubling him, but the way in which all behaved and the overflowing longing that was visible in the visitor's eyes made Adi say, "You see, Baba is very busy. He does not see any visitor. In the morning, I drove him to Mehrabad. In the evening, I shall take him to Mehrazad. If he can wait till evening and can risk waiting on the road nearby the railway station, I will drive slowly and you may have a chance. You may have a glimpse of Baba. This much I can do and nothing more." "Thank you, Adi Kaka," said one. "We really do not want to disturb Baba, but somehow we could not help coming over here," added another. The auspicious moment was decreed, and Baba and the group left the place quite happily. But late afternoon, all began to stroll or sit under the shade. By late afternoon, all began to stroll or sit under the shade of the trees about the spot fixed by Adi. The eyes of all were set in the direction of Mehrabad. They anxiously waited and waited, but there was no sign of the blue Chevrolet carrying Baba. Time weighed heavily on their minds. It was past 7. The last bus for Pune was at 8, and yet there was no car in view. Though unwillingly, they decided to leave for the bus stand in a few minutes. Madhusudan folded his hands in the direction of Mehrabad as a salutation to Baba. Just then, a car was sighted. It was Adi's car. In Baba's time, the moment of relief when self-centered efforts are surrendered to the divine will. Madhusudan felt that a tender beam of soft light flashed from the car and flooded his soul. As the car passed by, rather slowly, he saw Baba smiling. Beauty and majesty seemed blended in his expression. Baba's marvelous look reminded him at once of the dream he had had the previous night. Baba blessed Madhusudan. In the dream, Madhusudan had seen the huge and mighty, the most tender and noble figure of Lord Vishnu, the sustainer, Parvardigar, gracefully smiling. As he moved on to approach the Lord, his form miraculously disappeared, and its place there shone a disk of bright light, rotating and rolling further and further away. At last, it entered a very small temple of Lord Krishna, the flute player. As the halo touched the statue, it got merged in the idol of Krishna. Was it to signify that Paramatma, the infinite God, through the symbolic aspect of Vishnu, the sustainer, assumed the form of Krishna and later of Meher Baba? With a vivid recollection of this meaningful dream, and with a vision of tender light touching the core of his heart, Madhusudan could not contain himself. He lay on the road as if dazed. Adi's car moved some distance and stopped. The Pune group hastened, rather ran to meet Baba. He called all near him and blessed each of them. At Baba's instruction, Vishnu, one of Baba's disciples, helped Madhusudan walk to the car. Baba smiled and placed his healing hand on Madhusudan's head. He gestured, I know you love me. Continue to love me and remain happy. My nazar is on you. And the car sped off in the darkness of the night, and within a minute it was out of sight. But the light of love kindled in the hearts of his young lovers was inextinguishable. The risk was richly rewarded.
Yeah, I think in a way you get another definition for risk. So this is
Yes.
taking a risk. And
Yeah.
so it's a loose usage. Take to Mahu's point, it's a loose usage of the word risk, but it's basically what would you do from a non-logic perspective? What would you do from just blindly following your heart? Right?
Right.
That's what I
Yeah.
take this risk to mean. Right? So anyway, let's continue.
Shall we rotate?
Yeah,
Anybody else
Yeah,
that's
we
a
wants?
can.
question. There can't be an answer.
Yes, 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 yes.
No.
Yeah.
Can I comment here? Can I comment here?
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
See the
please,
fact.
please.
So the fact that we became Baba lovers is because Baba worked on us. What exactly he does is we have all these sanskaras, and particularly these obstructive samskaras. That's what Baba mentioned. I don't know where he mentioned, but somewhere he mentioned obstructive samskaras. Baba works on those. That is why we had no problem to believe Baba that he is God. It's all the God's miracle that we are able to believe him. It's not a question of risk, but it's a wholehearted belief. It's beyond the risk, right? Just want to comment that. Yeah, Baba.
Kartik, I couldn't locate this word risk. Where is it?
So if in the last line, Baba just says, Bal Natu says, the risk was richly rewarded. And 3 pages back, there was a mention of The three
Risk.
types of risk. Trifles
Oh,
take no risk. In business, take a few risks. And in spirituality, take every risk. This is Baba's words.
oh, Baba said that. Interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm. I gotta look into that.
Yeah. Okay. Where were we? I think here. Yes. Anybody wants to take up reading from here? Sure.
I can read
I mean,
if
I
you
can
want.
read, but are you? Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe Mahu, and then after that, you, Ravi, if you're okay.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't know
Okay,
whether I'll
so
be able to
from the
read.
Otherwise, I'll
I'm
read.
traveling,
I'll
Madhusudan,
so
read. If Ravi is not comfortable, after Mao, I'll read. Yeah. Sure, Baba.
Okay, no problem. Perfect.
no. Are you getting any disturbance from my?
No,
Are you
no, no.
getting any
Your audio
disturbance
is
from
fine.
my?
Your audio is fine.
Okay, then I can read. Then I can
Okay.
read. Yeah, okay.
So Mahu, then Ravi, then Sanjay ji. Please go ahead.
Madhusudan's fondness for music was an excuse for Baba to draw him in the orbit of his love in his own unique way. In the aforementioned dream, when Madhusudan found himself at the threshold of Lord Krishna's temple, there came out the words from the inner chamber, sing a song, and he sang. Baba's divine touch not only inspired Madhusudan to sing, but even to compose beautiful songs for Baba. His compositions in Hindi and Marathi were later very much appreciated by Baba. Many of these songs were sung in Baba's presence and in the public meetings too, especially the arti meher, especially the arti mehermana arti suikaro. That means I offer my mind to thee, O Meher, accepted as my arti. Oh, I guess we can all sing this, right? Because they sing it at the Samadhi time. Uh, okay, so this was sung in
One thing just wanted
chorus.
to add the Krishna reference. Yeah, Madhusudan, the word itself means is another name of Krishna. So his love for Krishna in that sense is not just like that.
Okay,
And wasn't
was sung in
Madhusudan,
chorus.
again, to exploit that interruption, wasn't Madhusudan the person that strayed away, I mean, left Baba and then came back later?
Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
After Baba
Correct.
dropped his body, I think he got away from Baba because
Disillusioned and then
he was
came
not
back later.
participative. Yeah, and
Okay.
the first time that he came out and gave a program was in Upper House, Upper Rao, if you know, Rajendra Murthy's, who manages the line at the queue line. His father-in-law was Rao. So he came to his place, and I was fortunate to be part of that program. And there he said, once you are with Baba, you never go away. You may see him or you may not see him. You are always in Baba. That was his message was. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, Baba.
It's very
91
interesting
he
that
came.
no, 95, right?
Yeah,
95, 95,
90,
something like that.
90, I suppose.
I think.
90, I
Yeah,
suppose.
he
I
came
have
to
some
trust
pictures.
office. Yeah, he came
Yeah.
to trust office and met with Irich.
Okay.
And before that, some people, because he was a great singer, he went. Some people went there and he took
Yeah.
out even the objects from his house. Baba, when they talked about it, he said, in
Correct.
80,
Correct.
91, he came to trust office and then met Urich. And then Urich asked,
Yeah.
"What happened to you?" The only answer he gave was, "I don't know." But
Yeah.
I was talking to Raghupati Rao garu in Bangalore. He was telling me that Madhusudan songs before this happened were at one level, and
Yeah,
after this period,
correct.
yeah, maybe you will know, Sanjay.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
there is that song that he wrote after coming back. लाख छुड़ाना चाहा छूटा
Mm.
दामन ऐसे कसकर बांधा न छूटा दामन. I tried to get
Mm.
away from you. I want to take away my myself from away from you, but I could not do it. So later songs
Wow.
are have their own vibrations. Older ones definitely were sung before Baba, so we have more attachment to them. We want to sing those songs more.
Mm.
But even later songs have that same love for Baba and surrenderance. Yeah, Baba. I had myself and Dolly had been to his house also in Pune.
Oh,
Ganesh
wow.
kids he used to
In
stay.
Pune?
Yeah, Pune. Yeah.
Is Subhadra still living? Subhadra,
No, no,
right?
no,
His wife?
no, no, no,
Uh,
no, no.
uh.
They also went off. Yeah, yeah, Baba.
She passed away?
Karthik,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
may I
Both of
make
them.
a
Both of them.
comment?
2000.
I'm
Yeah.
actually lost because there's got to be some structure in the meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are talking, and between what I'm reading and listening to what is shared, I am confused. So perhaps we can read, and then maybe you can ask if anybody has any comment or question, and then at that time it would be, it would be shared rather than when we're reading, we're just jumping, we just, make a comment and then tell the story and so forth. What do you think of that?
No, fair enough. That's generally what we do all the time. I think it's just this instance where Sanjay ji brought up Krishna and Madhusudan, and then we went off on a tangent. So let's watch out against that. And usually we are pretty organized on taking a pause and then discussing anything, even if it's a little tangential. But let's stick to context. Otherwise, we keep going very far away. Yeah, so let's continue. Maybe you
So
can
I forgot what I was reading.
just
Okay,
start again from
this
Madhusudan's
coming.
fondness. Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Uh,
Jai Baba.
Madhusudan's fondness for music was an excuse. Oh, I already read that,
Yeah, yeah.
didn't
I'm
I?
asking you to repeat from there. Yeah,
Oh, okay, sure.
yeah.
Madhusudan's fondness for music was an excuse for Baba to draw him in the orbit of his love in his own unique way. In the aforementioned dream, when Madhusudan found himself at the threshold of Lord Krishna's temple, there came out the words from the inner chamber, sing a song, and he sang one. Baba's divine touch not only inspired Madhusudan to sing, but even to compose beautiful songs for Baba. His compositions in Hindi and Marathi were later very much appreciated by Baba. Many of these songs were sung in Baba's presence and in the public meetings too, especially the Arti, Mehermana Arti Suakara. I offer my mind to, to thee, O Meher, accepted as my Arti, was sung in chorus before Baba by hundreds of his lovers. This arti carries with it a unique Baba perfume. Many feel so, and I wholeheartedly agree with them. So the next title is I am the servant of the universe. In the last week of August, like the group from Pune, a batch of four from Uttar Pradesh had a chance to meet Baba. This audience was in connection with the darshan programs in the district of Hamirpur, UP, Uttar Pradesh. Through the circular, Baba had banned correspondence and visits of his devotees to see him. These few, however, were called to Mehrabad to discuss the plan for a public darshan. Baba had definitely decided to enter the new life, yet he wished to discuss the plan for meeting the masses. His only concern, it seems, was to fulfill spiritual needs, though sometimes his ways appeared rather contradictory. The Hamirpur group was headed by Sheripat Sahai, Babu Ram Babu Ramparsad from Naranga, and Keshav Nigam accompanied him. Both of them were seeing Baba physically for the first time. The significance of this meeting was gradually revealed as years passed by. For this small group was instrumental in sowing the seed of Baba's work in the Hamirpur area, the garden of Baba's love. This party had arrived at Mehrabad in the evening of August 29. The next morning, Baba, as usual, was at Mehrabad by 7 o'clock. Soon they were summoned to his cabin. They were called for a 5-minute interview, but Baba graciously spent half an hour with them. He spelled on his board, "People call me the Lord of the universe, but I am the servant of the universe. I am the washerman, come to clean the dirty clothing of humanity. You are all lucky to be here. At the moment, you are all lucky to be here at the moment when I am about to enter my new life." After some intimate chat, Baba continued, "Now listen, here are 3 instructions. Do not touch money. Do not touch a woman. Observe fast for 24 hours, once a week. Think sanely and seriously over these points and communicate your decision to me before you leave the cabin. I will not be displeased if you express your inability to follow anyone or all these instructions. But once you promise me to obey one or more orders, you must not break them. Be honest in your reply." Then Baba discussed with them the subject of giving darshan in the district of Hamirpur. A draft of the leaflet regarding the programs was read out to Baba. He expressed his readiness to visit Hamirpur before October 16, if Sahai Nigam and others would promise that the people coming for darshan would not fold their hands or bow down to Baba. Such an assurance they dared not give, and so the mass darshan programs were cancelled. Was it for the postponement of the programs that Baba asked them to undertake such a long journey, 2 nights by train? This could have been done by sending a telegram. It was perhaps the deep and sincere longing of the lovers that compelled the beloved to make an exception under some excuse and meet them personally. At the end of this interview, Keshav Nigam said that he would obey the first and the third order. Okay. The first was do not touch money. The third was, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember. Anyway. Mm,
Yeah, observe fast for
uh-huh.
24 hours once a
Do
week.
not touch money is the first one. The third one is take 24 hours fasting once a week. Okay. So Keshav Nigam agreed to the first and third. The others also openly told Baba their decisions without any reservations. Baba was pleased with their sincerity. Enraptured, they left Baba's cabin. As they came out, no one felt like speaking, for the highest joy often dwells in silence. After lunch, they left for the railway station, and maybe now the next person can read.
Sure. Sanjay ji, I think you take over because I think I noticed Ravi's audio in the last intervention was not very great. So, and we just have 15 minutes. Maybe if you're okay, you can read all the way. Sanjay?
Yeah,
Okay. Jai Baba.
about his first meeting with Baba, Keshav Nigam wrote, August 30, 1949 was not only the blessed moment of my present life, but it also marked the culmination of all the blessed moments of all my previous lives and the long vista of my evolutionary sojourn. For one, on that day I saw God Himself on the earth in the form of Avatar Meher Baba. This first darshan of God Baba initiated me into a new life that also bathed my heart in a new light. The flame of Baba's love was intensely kindled within me, and before it, all the world and the mundane activities appeared absolutely petty and unreal. Some instructions. The date of the meeting called in connection with the new life, as mentioned in the registered letter, was September 4, but later it was changed to August 31. It was one of those invited, I was one of those invited to it. By the afternoon of August 30, I reached Mehrabad as I got down from the Tonga, that is horse cab, and entered the hall. I saw Baba sitting with the Mandali. He looked fresh and radiant, but his eyes had an expression of deep thought. I gathered that he was discussing some serious matter. I folded my hands to him. With a welcoming smile, he gestured me at me. Sit down. Without disturbing anyone, yeah, roll up, Karthik. I took my seat at the end of the carpet. I noticed that Baba was holding a small, hard rubber ball in his palm and was pressing it lightly. I wondered what the matter was. Later, I learned that it was due to Baba's love and compassion for Aloba in teaching him the way to obey the master. When the discussion was over, he made some casual inquiries about my journey and health. While leaving for Merazad, he gave the following general instructions. Tomorrow, the meeting will commence at 8 a.m. Everyone must have a bath in the morning. Turning to Ghani, roll up, Karthik. He must have a bath in the morning. Turning to Ghani, he especially asked him not to forget this. Ghani was in a habit of bathing once a week on Friday. Jokingly, he would say to us, I wonder why you people have a bath every day. As I stay near Baba, I do not wish to wash off the holy dust of the avatar's darbar that I daily collect on my body. On August 31, we were not to fold our hands to Baba to offer namaskars. Baba instructed Padri that the stone flooring of the hall be washed by next morning. No one was to enter the hall after it was cleaned. All of us were to get inside the royal court. Darbar means royal court, actually, a translation.
Yes,
All
all
of
of
us
us.
were to get, yeah, all of us were to get inside with Baba by 8 a.m. We were also told not to discuss among ourselves anything in connection with the new life. The Baba people who had arrived for this meeting from the outstations included Dr. Daulat Singh, Kishan Singh, Minu Kharas, Baba Das, Dr. Deshmukh, R.K. Kadekar, and Sadashiv Patel. After supper, some of us gathered around Ghani and listened to the jovial and lively incidents from Baba's life, which he narrated. We conversed on many topics of general interest, except in the hall at Merazar. Those who were staying at Ahmednagar and were called for this meeting arrived. All of us eagerly awaited Baba's arrival. As he got down from the car, he looked more than beautiful. No one was allowed to enter the hall before 8 o'clock. So Baba sat on a bench on the veranda. We gathered around him, particularly those who had come from outstation. Baba asked Gadekar and Baba Das to come forward, pointing at them. He made a joke. Baba Das has more chelas, disciples, than I have, and Gadekar more gurus. Baba was thus referring to the fact that Baba Das, who had a long beard, wore long hair, used a kafni, long robe, was regarded by many villagers as a sadhu or a guru. They would revere him as a master. Gadekar was not particular about his dress, though he was a high-ranking officer, as he had an innocent heart. He treated every sadhu as an advanced soul and would serve and revere him as a guru. In such a humorous mood, Baba started inquiring about each and everyone called for the meeting. Rao Sahib Afsari had been the principal of the Hazrat Babazan School at Mehrabad in 1927. Later, he stayed with his family at Bombay. He was asked to attend the meeting, but it was noticed that he had not yet arrived. Baba conveyed, if he comes after 8, he will neither be allowed to enter the hall nor to attend the meeting. Just then, the Bombay Manmad railway train passed by Mehrabad, and we saw Afsari waving an handkerchief at those standing on the road. Baba ordered that a car be rushed to the station. The one going to in the car was instructed to take Afsari right to the bathroom in Mehrabad. It was to help him finish his bath in time to be ready by 8. The plan worked out well, and a few minutes before 8 o'clock, we all, including Afsari, entered the hall, Baba leading. A stone flooring was covered with a green carpet. The left wing was Baba's chair, and in the corner lay a small table. In the right wing, some old photos of Baba with the mandali were displayed on the wall. An old clock was marking time facing Baba's seat and it is still there. Yeah, it is opposite side. The wall lock is there. Yeah. Baba alone walked to the right wing, and all of us stood in the left. He called Padri and asked him to walk across the hall 7 times in between the wings. He gestured. The sight of a cat crossing the road is regarded as a sign of ill luck by the Hindus, and Padri walking will ward off anything that is evil. This was perhaps the last joke of the day. For once, the meeting commenced. The atmosphere remained exceptionally serious. Baba took his coat and motioned us to sit down. Before starting the work at the meeting, he asked Padri to close all the doors and the windows of the hall. Mehram, Baba's brother, who arrived a few minutes late, could not enter the hall and attend the meeting. Choice of joining the new life. The momentous meeting commenced. All were extremely anxious to hear what Baba would explain about the new life phase. He passed a cursory look on the gathering and conveyed, from amongst the many, I have specially called a few of you to attend the important meeting. Be very attentive. Think thoroughly over what you hear. Those who will soon get a circular, should carefully go through it and arrive at an honest conclusion. The meeting began with the reading and recitation from the holy books. Kaikobad recited a part of Zend Avesta. Khak Sahib offered namaz. Baba was pleased with Khak Sahib's melodious and appealing voice. He gestured. If God were not to listen to such a hard rendering prayer, he must be either deaf or dead. Donkin read the crucifixion of Jesus from the New Testament. Kale Mama concluded this program with the reading of some verses from Bhagavad Gita, the Lord's Song.
If I can pause
Yeah,
you for a bit, you can actually listen to the sections in that video. So if you listen to the video that I shared on the groups, you will see that what Parks actually reads out these sections as well. He reads out from the Quran as well as Zendavesta and the slokas selected from Bhagavad Gita. Right. So again, what he suggests is Baba was preparing for this phase in a way where he steps back from the role of uh, being the god in form, and also in many ways is trying to attempt bringing all the beads onto a string, which was his attempt in the overall scheme of things as well. So, I mean, just a thought as to why he must have done what he is doing, right? Okay,
such
continue.
reading was not just this time, many times. I think when Baba came
Yes,
out
correct,
for a
correct.
day,
Yes, yes. Even
whole
that
night, then also this was repeated.
he
Even
mentions
that
that
day
as
it was
well.
repeated.
I was not aware of it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he
it is not
mentions
done.
that multiple times such readings have happened. Yes.
Uh, in Mahabaleshwar that he came out for a day. Jai Baba.
Yeah.
The different holy books were placed on the table. We all, along with Baba, stood up facing the books and Baba's framed colored picture on the wall, which is still there. On behalf of Baba, the following prayer of forgiveness was read aloud. I forgive each and every disciple, devotee, and follower, all his weaknesses up to date, and not any disobedience on his part up till now. And on behalf of myself, I forget myself for any pain, injustice, or wrong that I may have done any of them. There were also some members in the hall not to receive the circular, who were not to receive the circular about the new life conditions. They were called the arrangement walas. After Baba's entering the new life, these were the persons entrusted with the work of taking care of the families and those people who had dedicated their lives to Baba and had been dependent on him for years. To those whom he intended to give the choice of becoming his companions in the new life, he addressed as follows: I want you all who receive this circular to understand once and for all that I am 100% serious about this new life. Although you have stood by me faithfully and lovingly all these past years with perfect faith and sincerity, in spite of receiving nothing from me, and although you all might be prepared to lay down your lives for me, yet there is the possibility that you and my habits of understanding and misunderstanding each other during the last so many years might mislead you into not taking this most seriously. Therefore, I want you all to go through this circular word by word most carefully before you decide. It would be best that if you accompany me and abide by my orders and conditions 100% thoroughly. But although your faith, love, and service for me have been greater than mine would have been for my own master, yet these conditions might prove your undoing. So, unless you are ready to live the life of complete sannyasi, utter ruin, satyanashi, that is utter ruin, and absolute obedience, it would be better to stay behind and obey instructions that would be given to you. But all this is by way of statement of facts and confessions. The decision to entirely to be made by you and you alone. May God give you the required strength. You and you alone are responsible before God. Ramju gave a short talk in Hindi, especially for those who did not understand English well, explaining, in a nutshell, the clauses and terms comprising the new life. Donkin then read out the original text in English. Everything mentioned therein was to be seriously thought over by those who wish to join Baba in his new life by being physically near him. Here follows the gist of some of the points from the circular. Everyone who receives a copy of this communication was to inform Baba of his decision with a clear yes or no, not a word more. If anyone decided not to go with Baba, his spiritual connections with him would not be broken off. Such a one was to receive a few orders from Baba, and he was expected to observe them seriously. If one failed to answer either in the affirmation or negative, his connections with Baba would automatically get severed. Everyone was expected to ponder over the following 7 points with due considerations. To quote from the circular, yeah, go up, yeah. In this new life of complete renunciation, you will be utterly at the mercy of all kinds of good or bad treatment that may be meted out to you by others. Whatever happens to you and you alone will be held responsible before God. If by accompanying Baba, your dependents or your business or private affairs suffer in any way, you and you alone will be held responsible before God. If due to physical or mental exhaustion, exposure to extreme weather, lack of food, etc., you fall ill or die, you and you alone will be held responsible before God. If Baba should give you any orders that may result in your being sent to prison or in your being assaulted or even killed, you and you alone will be held responsible before God. If you should disobey Baba and he should send you away from him, you will not hold Baba responsible before God for your future, whatever that future may bring. The decision that you give to Baba will be considered by him as irrevocable, and he will not accept any change in decision from anyone. If, as a result of your having been sent away by Baba, you should take any misguided step, you and you alone will be held responsible before God. These clauses are enough to give an idea the expected degree of preparedness from one who would want to join Baba in his new life. In short, only those whose hearts dare to sing the song of perfect surrender to Baba's will were eligible to follow him. And such a response automatically implied complete faith in Baba's life of compassion, irrespective of its outward expression. We'll close here. Jai Baba.
Yes, thank you. Let's stop here.
This is
So,
the risk we were talking of.
yeah, no, but I think
Jai Baba.
it's very strong and unusually
Beautiful, very
strong
strong,
words.
usually strong
Yes,
worded.
yes.
He
So
became a
there
hard
must,
taskmaster actually in the beginning phase when he was in that life in Manzile meme, and here he, right, became a common man. So there was no, you should not expect anything to happen. Be your own responsibility and other things.
indeed. Okay, so we'll wrap up on that note and we'll continue on our.
She is afraid you might leave too.
Hey, I just want to let everybody know I had the great pleasure to meet Karthik for the first time. It was just an
Yes.
enjoyable.
If you
And
did
what
that,
a,
Hey, we forgot to take a picture.
exactly. I
What?
was kicking myself. Yeah.
anyway,
We'll do it in
so
Mehrabad.
Monday is a holiday, right?
We'll take a good picture.
Did you guys
Mehrabad,
meet?
Yeah,
all together.
Ravi
Yes.
and Karti.
all together. Yes.
Where
Yeah.
did you
So
meet?
I
Last
think
week,
I think you both are
just a
talking
few days ago,
together, Mahu and Ravi.
in Bengal.
When I reach
We
with
met,
Oh, Bangalore. Hmm.
yes, on Tuesday.
Hmm.
Okay. So it looks like
So,
Ravi, you're still on the road and traveling, and safe travels to you. And and I will stop
hmm.
recording, but I have a message for everyone. So just stick around if you can.
Yeah.
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Bangalore. I came to
Yeah.
Avatar Mehr Baba